Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Supermicro computer. It is time for another update and we have managed to follow through in the predicted count, in the expected count to the downside within this area, at least in one of them at the moment. And this isn't necessarily a positive thing because we did break here internally the relevant areas of support that would have allowed us to continue higher within the wave C, and while we did not technically invalidate this possibility of an ABC movement to still occur, it is based on very shaky grounds at the moment, and we will be discussing about that in a moment. But before that, I want to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are still tracking this still fragile scenario within an impulse, and we are not tracking this scenario because it is the most probable scenario. There is really a lot of complexity actually going on within this structure at the moment, and we cannot really reliably look for one pattern or the other. I would probably prefer an interpretation in terms of probabilities that would allow a deeper retracement even below the 50% retracement, but at least a larger correction within the wave 4, not necessarily what we expect within this pattern. And in such a case, yes, it is not the most probable scenario, but it will be the first scenario to actually fail holding, and at the moment it can in fact still work out. Now in this idea we are tracking here a series of 1-2 setups that occurred. Yeah, we actually need to be tracking this as 3 1-2 setups that occurred here within this initial movement, then another 1-2 setup here, and then within a third wave to the upside we have here a 1-2 setup, a third wave up, and now we are tracking a wave 4 correction. And within this wave 4 it is technically possible that we did bottom. Yeah, nothing is really stopping it. We could be forming a larger ending diagonal within the wave 5. And honestly, even a triangle is still very much in play for a correction within the wave 4 here, which is why, yeah, we need to keep an open mind and even allow here to form an impulse, even track this scenario that would allow an impulse, because yeah, over time, the structures and scenarios shift and morph into different patterns based on the overall encompassing market sentiment. Now within this area we have a couple of ideas. So as I was mentioning, even within this wave 4 alone we could consider it to have bottomed already. Yeah, we could be tracking this as an ABC movement to the downside. We could have a triangle unfolding, in which case this would be an A wave down, a B wave up, could be done. Yeah, we could also see it extend, then a C, D, E, and the pattern could unfold within such a correction. But we are very much aware of the interpretation in orange that would allow a more direct extension to the downside, where this would have been an A wave down, possibly a B wave that has already topped here, and then a C wave could be undergoing right now. In such a pattern we would have already a wave 1 down, a wave 2 up, and we would be now in the third wave to the downside. And then we also have the green interpretation that actually allows basically a reset within this wave B correction. Yeah, we would be tracking a larger WXY structure that would allow us to build here an ABC movement within the wave Y, and pushing above here the $66 level, the previous wave B top, would force us to consider a reset within this scenario and track a reset of another 5 move to the downside, yeah, from the beginning then. Now unfortunately, this entire structure is highly complex and doesn't allow a clear pattern that can be tracked. And while we have seen already multiple retracements that did break the relevant resistance levels and still managed to fail holding, to fail pushing higher directly, we have now broken a relevant support level, and we are still considering the possibility of this being the wave B bottom. Again, for this pattern to be completely invalidated, I need to see here a break below the beginning of the wave A. That is at around the $27.7 level. If we manage to push below that level, it is a direct invalidation of this wave Y that we would be tracking to the upside. But at this point, that has not happened. We did have here a brief break below the 88.7% retracement, and while it is quite suggestive that this structure is more likely to fail than not, we are still considering the significant divergences that we have overall formed on the RSI and the price chart over these developments. Yeah, we have seen lower lows continuously here on the price chart, while on the RSI we have actually started to see higher lows, and even here from a larger perspective, a higher low within this push here to the downside in a fifth wave. Now, what we have been tracking internally is actually a couple of scenarios. So in green, we are tracking here an ABC movement to the downside, which technically could be complete at this point. We may have even started here a wave C to the upside based on the relief rally from yesterday, but nothing too significant has occurred just yet. Now, within this retracement in wave 4, we had the area of resistance in orange, because this also applies for the orange interpretation, which after this wave is complete expects another fourth and another fifth to occur before completing a larger wave 3. But we are not focusing on that at the moment. We have also the area of resistance that we are tracking in the green interpretation with basically mostly the same levels. And yeah, in both interpretations within the wave 4, we did push into the area of resistance and we did follow through to the downside afterwards. Now in the green scenario, we expect to form an ending diagonal here within the wave C, whereas in the orange scenario, we would like to see an impulse form within this area. Not completely necessary from a larger perspective of a 1, 2, and a third wave down, but it would be ideal to actually track such a pattern. Now, to move back within this area, we can now enter the territory of this wave 5 and track what type of structure can really be seen within this movement to the downside. And while I have a couple of ideas of how we could consider this pattern complete, nothing is looking too good, to be honest. I could consider this a wave A, a wave B, and a wave C to the downside, and this could work out. In that case, we would consider a bottom already in place for the green interpretation, but I honestly do still need to allow possible extensions in a 5-wave move to the downside, because there is no reason to believe that this cannot extend lower. Now, based on the movement at the upside that has formed in the meantime, we may be able to be tracking a potential larger structure to be forming, although yeah, it is still too early. We don't have much data to work with within this area. But if I wanted to be tracking here a scenario in the orange interpretation, I would be watching out here at the levels between, yeah, let's say the $30 level, although yeah, even here could actually work out fine. Doesn't matter too much exactly. In the end, yeah, this could have been the 1, 2, could have been this to be the wave 1. Doesn't matter too much in the end. I suppose we could be tracking this interpretation either way. And here we have the resistance levels between the $30.4 level all the way up to the $32.7 level, where if we manage to break here above the 61.8% retracement, it would be a signal that at least this movement to the downside is done. Not necessarily the entire fifth wave, because yeah, sure, this could also extend into a larger ABC structure, although yeah, I would like to see more evidence before we go considering with high probability such an interpretation. And in that idea, we wouldn't have actually even gotten to the area of resistance just yet, where yeah, right now in this idea we have gotten basically to the 38.2% retracement, which is the ideal target for the wave C. Now, or sorry, for the wave 4, not the wave C. Now, within this area, I am tracking a couple of possibilities. So I could consider this an ABC movement, in which case I would probably still like to see a couple of additional highs within the wave C. Yeah, and then I will also be considering a potential 5-wave move that could be forming to the upside within this area, where we would have here a 1, 2, 3, and I would be tracking here a wave 4 internally and the 5th wave to the upside. Now, the positive aspect about this is that in both interpretations, we are basically looking for the same pattern to be unfolding in this area. And in the ABC structure, we are also tracking in the wave C a 5-wave move to the upside, in which case, yeah, I would also consider this third wave possibly complete. Sure, we may get a small extension before we find completion, and in the end, it is in a very small time frame, but I would like to see here for a signal that this structure has failed to extend higher. I would like to see the levels between the $31 level all the way down to the $30.7 level broken, basically the 50% I want to see broken for a signal that this structure will not manage to extend higher, and we should consider with high likelihood a more significant top to already be in place, at least forming a larger wave A complete. Then sure, we can form a B and a C to extend here the correction within the wave 4, but if we fail to extend directly higher and form a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, fourth, fifth, basically a 5-wave move to the upside in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I will not be looking with at the reversal with a high probability for a trade setup in a potential larger 1, 2 setup within a wave 2. And for now, unfortunately, there isn't much to add. Again, it is on a very small time frame. There is limited data, and we need to be still patient at this time. And with the holidays coming up, we shouldn't necessarily expect too much trading activity, which is quite common to occur within corrections in a wave 4, maybe within a wave B. Yeah, that could occur very easily in a sideways pattern that could take a while, maybe until after the holidays, to actually get a more clear trend direction, which is why, yeah, we shouldn't necessarily be too optimistic of an impulse forming here to the upside within this initial movement. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.